Hello, Chris Downham here from Rise Yoga on morning 3 of my 5-day fast. So it's now Wednesday morning at 10:30, and I started this on Sunday evening about 7 o'clock, something like that. It's the second time I've recorded this because I just did it and I thought, that is awesome, that's one take, and I forgot to press, I pressed go on the camera, but I didn't actually do any sounds. And now I have added a speaker and hopefully you can hear me. So let's get these updates done. So first of all, how do I feel? I feel great, really good. You probably noticed the energy in my voice and the video. My eyes are clear. It feels good for me. It feels good for me. I was a little bit grumpy yesterday, and I don't usually get grumpy. I'm a terrible optimist. I've been blessed with the happy gene, but I did feel a little bit grumpy. Possibly added to that, I was trying to finish tiling a bathroom, which I've completely bollocks the whole time. Never going to tile a bathroom again. That was getting very, very frustrating. And I had 5 kids come round for tea, and they all wanted to be fed different things. And I burnt all the food because I was on the phone to somebody. And that, at the end of it, I was just like, ooh, this isn't where I want to be. But a little bit of meditation, and it went. So, but this is unusual for me. I had a very slight ache in my left side, my liver. I think that's probably because your liver is usually working really hard to deal with creating glucose, glycogen from the food that you intake, and mine's not got anything to do. So I believe it's gone into repair mode, which lots of people suggest it would have. So why am I doing this? Just wanted to reinforce that I do like a challenge, and I like getting outside of my comfort zone. Outside your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. And I do love living my life that way, but I also like things to feel uncomfortable, because it's like the yin and the yang. It makes comfortable even more pleasurable. It's like pleasure and pain. If you don't have the pain, you would never even know what pleasure was. I love food. I do love food, and many people would think, well, as plant-based, and this would have been old Chris, so I've got old Chris and new Chris. Old Chris would have gone, well, hang on, you're one of them vegans, and if you don't eat meat, and you don't eat fish, and you don't eat cheese, and you don't have dairy, and blah, 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 what do you eat? And I still do get that from people, and it's like masses of stuff, and I've just enjoyed experimenting with new food, and it's delicious, and more spices, and different beans and veggies. It's just been fantastic. So I love food, but I don't like being ruled by it. I don't like my psyche to be, oh, what's for breakfast? Oh, I'm going to have an avocado on sourdough. What's for lunch? I'm going to have this butter bowl that I've created. What's for tea? I'm going to do this dal. And just it consuming me, and cooking and shopping, and actually not giving my body a rest just because I'm constantly putting this pleasure into it. But one of the things I have found, especially with the 40 days I've done on one meal a day, is the pleasure of food is even greater if you don't have more than you need of it. And we do not need to have as much as we do. We do not need 3 meals a day. What do you want now, Watch? Was anything else? I'm also starting to think about coming out of my fast. So what you can't do, and I've seen this on YouTube video, mainly by sort of YouTube bloggers who go, I'm going to do a 5-day fast to try and get millions of hits and get some advertising income. And then when they finish it, they have this, like, I'm having this chips and massive steak, and they've got a glass of red wine. They will be in pain an hour after that, and actually they'll undo a lot of the good that they've done, because if you imagine over the next 5 days, I'm going to be creating a blank canvas in many respects in my body. And if I then just put, I'm not going to say just put rubbish in, because I don't eat any rubbish, but if I overfill it with the wrong stuff, which is usually the right stuff when I'm eating normally, it's not going to undo all the good, because I eat well anyway, but I'm going to be in a bit of pain, and it's probably going to tarnish the pleasure of this fast, and it is pleasure. So I'll be having sort of green juices, salads, spinach, kale, lots of that sort of stuff for my first meal. Wait a few hours, see how I feel, do a bit of exercise. So I'll probably spend about 2 days reintroducing myself back into my normal diet, which is a couple of meals a day, a late breakfast and an early tea, then go to yoga, then go to bed feeling a little bit peckish, so I can then have a really nice sort of 16, 17 hour fast most days. But nothing wrong with going out for breakfast, lunch, and tea occasionally, just not needed to be done all the time. You can cope without it. So I think that is where I'm up to on that side of things. What I do want to do now is just share a few more of the scientific results. So I'll just stop this. Okay, so you should be seeing my spreadsheet, which has been changing a little bit. So I've got reading 1 down to reading 5 where we are at the moment. These were for day 1 and now we're in day 3. I'm not going to go a lot into the ketone and blood glucose levels because I'm going to show you some more about that in a moment. My weight has dropped fairly considerably. Before I started doing 1 meal a day, which was on the 1st of December, I've dropped about, we're now in very early Jan, I've dropped 7 kilograms, something like that. So fairly considerable weight. I do, and I've just sent off my DNA test. I think I'll be genetically disposed to putting weight on fairly quickly and taking weight off fairly quickly. It's always, and that might be, it might get harder as I get older. But no spring chicken anymore. Body fats dropped fairly considerably. Obviously BMI, bone mass, I'm going to come more into that. Blood pressure, got that checked out this morning at the GP, who were open at 7:45 a.m. Well done NHS, fabulous service. Energy levels, so let's just go back to here. Sorry, mood, as I said, got a little bit grumpy yesterday, so I put myself down as a 3. Did put myself as a 6 after yoga, even though the scale maxed out at 5 because I was just like feeling nuclear, which is just how I feel after any exercise that I do. It is like the best drugs, allegedly. My mood now, I'm going to say, well, actually right now, it's a 5. You can probably tell. Super happy. This morning when I did it, I'm thinking, bit of a 4. Not going to eat today. Hunger level, not hungry. Just average, I can always eat unless I absolutely burst myself, but yeah, just not hungry. Sleep level, hour 5, I'm saying a 4. I'm having a lot of dreams, so it must be fairly disturbed, but 4's pretty good. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning, although this morning my alarm went off at 5 and I decided, because I'm doing this, I'm just going to give myself that extra hour, and I did appreciate it, but normally, like every day, it's actually 5:05. Never shaved off that last 5 minutes. Energy level was 5 after yoga. I'll say that's got to be a 4. I'm feeling 4 at the moment. There's no chance that's a 3. Also feel a little bit dizzy when I jump up. So in the night, the cat yowled. I thought it was one of the kids crying. Jumped out of bed, so they didn't wake the other kids. Went whoa, and that's because my blood sugar levels are low. And I've got these are the sort of things when you're fasting, especially longer term water fast. You just got to be a little bit mindful that these things can happen. Don't panic. It's natural. It's your body and its healing process. No problemo. Now let's have a look at a little bit of power. Ooh. So these are the last 7-day results. And obviously I've only been working on my water fast for 3 days, but you don't just go in from like going, oh my God, I'm going on a 5-day fast tomorrow, so I'm actually going to smash myself full of food today. You'll find it very, very hard. You'll get some terrible cravings because you'll put too much sugar and carbs and all sorts into your body. So I've been really sensible over the last really month, but you'd certainly do it for 2 or 3 or 4 days beforehand, and hence I had a reduction in my weight going into this. But what you can see, over the last 3 days, I've lost nearly 2 kilograms. Body fat's reduced, so it's fat that's going. Hydration's actually gone up, so it's not just water, and I am drinking a lot of water. In fact, I'm drinking apple cider vinegar, and I am having 1 or 2 black coffees a day, just because I can't be doing with the headache, the caffeine withdrawal headache at the same time of doing this. This I do want to touch on a little bit more. So I've done 5 readings now, and as you can see, my ketone levels, this is the amount of ketones in my blood. Ketones are awesome brain fuel. This is what gives you that cognitive clarity, gets rid of that brain fog, which you get from what we normally eat, because your brain thrives on ketones. And when I first went into this, so I did a test after I'd just eaten my last meal on Sunday night, and my ketones it didn't give me a meter reading, it just said low. When I looked at that, I thought, oh God, the machine's broken. But it didn't, it just said it's below 0.1 millimoles per litre. At the end, the morning when I woke up, after that 0.3, that evening 0.6, next morning 1.1, 1.8, 3.5. And what you'll find is as my ketone levels go up, what we are expecting is a corresponding reduction in blue glucose. The magic we want to get to here is where they touch at 1 to 1. That is where you're fully in ketosis, but it's also where the magic, and it is magic, of autophagy or autophagy it happens. So as you can see, very nearly at 1 now, and I was at the ratio, what's called the glucose ketone index, GKI. I was at 18.67, so we've come a massive way there. So what do those figures actually represent? Well, if you are looking, so I've done, it's quite nice really, because I started at 18.67 on my GKI, and if you're over 9, then you're not in ketosis. So I started not in ketosis. It's the natural place to be. I don't eat necessarily a low carb diet. I just eat really, really healthily. Although I think there are some advantages of a low carb diet, especially intermittently, occasionally. And this sort of fast I'm doing now, maybe do this once, twice, 3 times a year, whatever you need, length of time, whatever you need, but do your own research about it. Take medical measurements, see how you feel, document it. It's important. Next thing, then went to 9. So between 6 and 9, you're in a low level of ketosis. So after not eating for effectively the night, I was in a low level of ketosis. And that's where we usually end up when we hit breakfast or break fast. And it's quite a shame because you're just moving into this stage where glucose is going down, ketones are going up, the body's starting going around, we're looking for fat stores, and we've got about 1 million calories of fat on us, and nobody worry about starvation here. You're on a starvation diet. No, I'm not. There's 1 million calories. I'm not fat, but I've got probably 1 million calories of fat to burn on me before I get to starvation, before I get to those horrific photos of prisoners of war in World War II who were just bones and skin. That's starvation. This is not starvation, what I'm doing. My body is not in starvation mode. So forget about that. Then I went into, so this is like the night, so I've been fasting for 24 hours. I then went into a moderate level of ketosis. Lovely. Starting to burn fat, body starting to repair itself, but only on a fairly small level, but great for sort of 3 times a week intermittent fasting. And you'll see loads about the different types of intermittent fasting that you can do, from the 5-2 diet to the 18-6 to the 24. There's loads of them. Basically just means don't eat as much. And then I went into a high therapeutic level of ketosis. And what this says, for those using keto therapeutically for the treatment of diseases such as cancer, epilepsy, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, traumatic brain injury, and chronic inflammatory disease. And then I'm approaching now the highest therapeutic level of ketosis, so it's very difficult to achieve without doctor supervision. Well, my dad was a doctor, so I guess that counts. Just going to show you a couple of photos now. This wasn't me 3 days ago. This is good that I'm doing, but it's not a miracle. This was me. This was old Chris before he made the decision to bollocks this. I'm going to become new Chris. Effectively, I'd spent 20 years in suits and jackets and ties, making loads of money, buying houses, having staff, having businesses. Then I was victim of fraud, went bankrupt, and thought, oh, there's got to be more. Also realised I'm probably going to have to work a lot for many more years. And just started to, I don't know, had a moment of clarity, lost everything, had nothing, could do anything. And there we are, there's the fat. It looks even worse actually, because I was in Spain, I'd been mozzie bitten on my fat tummy. They must have loved that, the mozzies. Tasty, fat. They're probably on a ketosis and ketogenic diet. Anyway, so that's where I was, changed a load of things in my life. This is me as of this morning. It's not perfect, pretty good for in my 45th year. I'd have certainly taken that 3 years ago. And I think that is it. Yeah, that's it. So end of day 3 video. Speak to you again tomorrow. Hope this helps. Happy to, if anyone wants to reach out, happy to help you. I just want everybody, and this is the whole purpose of my new purpose and passion in life and what we do at Rise Urban Yoga, is to help you become the best version of yourself. And in turn, I am trying to become the best version of myself. And it's an endless journey, which is what makes it so wonderful, because you never want to reach the destination, because then where will you go? In fact, I had a pal recently who sold a business for millions of pounds, and now he's not quite sure what to do. And so life is much more than money. Cheerio, dudes.